Welcome back to part 48 of Final Fantasy 15, where today we're continuing the post-game as per usual. But today we're going to be collecting Armor Unleashed and starting the optional dungeons. I don't do both of them in this part. I recorded both of them, but the second one's a hell of a lot bigger and I couldn't fit both into one video reasonably, which is why this video is a bit shorter than normal. But it's because the next one's going to be quite long, because of the dungeon just being quite long. But if you get this over here, you get access to the Founders King's Sigil, which allows access to the Armor Unleashed, something exclusive to Royal Edition, which makes you mortal when you're in Armor instead of how Armor usually works, but grants you access to new moves. You're going to see in this footage me not realise it straight away, but every time you see the flash on Noctis mid-attack, that's part of a pause combo, where if you pause for the flash and then tap triangle instead of normal attack, you'll do a special attack. What I don't realise at first is that it's supposed to be triangle. You're going to see me keep on pressing circle and then delay and then press circle again, like most other action games where they do delay inputs, and me just do the next hit because I just completely forgot it was triangle, and so oops. You're going to see me get much more of a grip of it next part, but unfortunately for this one you're not going to really see me get the grip of it at all. But the two optional dungeons, both of them I'm not particularly keen on. But the one I have issues with more, we're going to first. And the biggest issue I have with the dungeon coming up has nothing to do with like the main core of the dungeon. Like, the main piece of the dungeon is annoying because they essentially gave every single enemy either confusion or death. So they'll either make it so you can hit your teammates, you can't swap between them, and you walk back the front, yada yada, or they'll instant kill you regardless of your level. And that's just annoying. I don't like that. But then the bit at the end, there's a section at the end, and when I first got there, I assumed I was doing something wrong. But now after all this time of getting here and doing it, I'm adamant the game's just wrong. And it's how to get to the final room. To get to the final room, you have to use a warp point. But the ledge you land on that you use the warp point to is very small. And you can't transition through the area, and you can't drop the ladder that's there until all the enemies are dead. So you got to try and find a way to kill all the enemies without dropping off that ledge, because if you kill all the enemies and you're not on the ledge, you can't get back up.
Thanks, buddy.
But if you don't kill the enemies, you can't go onwards. I'll show it when we get to it, but because it's this Final Fantasy 15, not Devil May Cry, so this is post-launch. This is post-recording. I'm recording this on the 27th. It'll probably go out the same day as the Devil May Cry part, just because I want to stack upload a little bit just to make up for the 2 days I missed. Because I'm making it 4 uploads a week is kind of what I'm aiming for anyway. But I missed Boxing Day as well, which wasn't my intention. I was just not in the right headspace to want to record and upload yesterday. It's just happened sometimes. Yeah, I'm sure every YouTuber has it. Sometimes they just get the odd day. Well, I'm sure the ones that get paid for it have it a lot less often, but the ones that don't, like me, that just do it out of their own desire, I just have my odd day where sometimes I'm like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I procrastinate. But then the biggest annoyance of this dungeon is 3 pieces. It's the enemies that cause dizzy, the enemies that can cause instant kill, and the final piece of getting to the final room, which I want to get because then I can knock down the ladder in case for some idiotic reason I come back, because it's for access to one of the vault dungeons. So we need to do this dungeon anyway, so we can actually start the vault dungeon quest line at some point later on. I'm not doing all the vault dungeons. I keep on repeating this in hope that I'll remember when I get to it and not just record them all or something hideous like that. But we'll see. I know I'll show off one. But I'll probably be the first one. There's some really good equipment in them, to be fair. I can't remember if it's the 5th or 6th one, but it's like a random flaw in the 5th or 6th one after you've just dealt with a bunch of Tonberries, where you can get the best normal sword weapon in the game, which is just like, oh, okay, thanks, and there's like no other way to get it. Also, Galio's already gone. In this part, if you want to play a drinking game away from the usual Iggy's recipes or jumping when I press X instead of picking up an item, the drinking game is take a shot every time someone gets instant killed in this dungeon. in this like next 10 to 13 minute slot. It's one of those. These are the guys that will spam confusion, and they're backed up by more instant kill buddies. Yay! But at this point in the game, like by the time you get to this dungeon, even if you stumble into it very early, you're probably already aware of Ronins and their instant kill ability if you get on the wrong side of them. Because all of their attacks have chance of death on them, but their charged attack has a far higher chance of death. This one. Oh, Prompto's dead, that's a shot. So we lost Gladio, and now we've lost Prompto, so that's 2. I do start making an effort to try and keep them all up as we go now, though. But if I remember rightly, we go through a lot of Royal Arms. Also, we get a summon appear just as I went to do Armageddon Unleashed. I was like, you know what, stuff it, I'm doing Armageddon Unleashed. And that stance that you just saw us do is actually a reference to the very early teasers when this game was still known as Final Fantasy Versus 13, before they completely scrapped and reinvented it as 15. And they brought it back to Royal Edition. I thought that was just a really cool thing that they actually brought back. And when you're in that stance and you do it, the Royal Arms will constantly barrage on them like the Armiger, like Armiger normal, but without you still be able to do your combos. And every time you see the little flash, if you wait until the circle outside the flash, like it's just about to disperse, then hit triangle, that's around about where the timing is. It's a little awkward to get used to, but once you've got it, you got it. Also, there's a fishing spot awkwardly over here. A minute ago, you saw us pick up something called the Moogle Charm. This is something that's actually a mainstay in the franchise and has been for a little while. Moogle Charms boost experience. I'm being vague in how I say that, because some Final Fantasy games it's straight up double, some it's triple, and some it's just like a 1.5 boost. And I can't remember which one it is in this game. I think it's double, but I can't remember. But either way, if you're grinding and you're trying to get level 99, carry one of them with you just on principle. Hell, carry 2. The next optional dungeon has one in it as well. It's a little more awkward to find because the next dungeon, the reason why I don't like it is that it's a maze, but it's not a fun maze. It's a maze with a lot of little hiccups where I don't think they thought it through as much as they did. Either that or they really force it through and they're just arseholes. It's hard to tell sometimes. But anyway, we're proceeding onwards. There isn't actually too much to this dungeon. It's not that big when you know where you're going and what you're doing. And I ended up having to do this dungeon twice because I got stuffed on the end bit because all the enemies died and I fell off just as I killed the last enemy. Oh, there goes Gladio. That's your 3rd shot. Hope you're not a lightweight or you're going to really struggle. I love that attack. You're going to see that I delay the hit after every strike, yet you see I'm not getting it. It's because I'm hitting circle at this point. I completely forgot you're supposed to swap to triangle to do it. And so you're not going to see me get any of the special extra attacks at all yet. It's either late this part or next part that I work it out. I can't remember. I just know I work it out in one of them. It's also really effective in the air as well, which is neat. Also, remember rightly, the level requirement for this dungeon actually isn't that high, because I think they know that it doesn't really matter because all the enemies are just spamming confusion and insta-kill. Like, it's not like the dreaded Costal Mark Tower where all the enemies just like ruin your day. It's actually like Also, there are weapons to be found in both this optional dungeon and the next one, and in both cases the weapons we got are stronger. And despite the fact I avoided the green water, aka the poisonous water, did you see how all the teammates walked into it anyway? Like Gladi, Iggy and Prompto, just no common sense whatsoever, strolled straight through it and got a poison for their trouble. This way's a dead end, but I took it anyway because there's an item, and I couldn't remember what it was, so I wanted to get it. And I didn't even get it. I didn't even go back for it. I literally just went, did the encounter and moved on. Ugh. This room's an encounter and it's an annoying one because it's all in poison water. So I try and book it over here and then have to turn back on myself to deal with it. And then I finally realised, well no, this isn't actually me realising. I remember now, this isn't actually me realising. This is me, my finger slipped and I tapped triangle as well. And I was unsure whether I got it right or whether it's triangle, but it didn't matter because I got instant killed by the necromancer instead. Or it might have been the Ronin right behind me. I'd like to blame it on the necromancer because it looked like it was it that hit me, but I couldn't quite see. And somehow I missed that. Oh yeah, okay, it was the necromancer. That's your, what is it, 5th shot now? Because I went down twice to this thing. Like, bring Phoenix down. Unless you have like a ribbon with you so you're immune to all status conditions, just bring it anyway.
Are we alright? Getting by. I'm dying of thirst here. I'm starving to death.
And yet we're all very much alive. So when the game first launched, the moment everyone got to the post-game dungeons, you hear that a lot. Alright, this is the bit that's important. Like, well, not quite yet, but we're in the room where we're gonna need to. Firstly, there's a ladder over here that you want to drop, just in case you fall down before you get there. But you can't just lower it down, no, you have to descend it. And then climb it back up, which is annoying. And I should have really just skipped it, but I need to show it that this ladder is here, so if you fall down, you can backtrack on yourself to get back here. Excuse me. But up here's a thin path you need to walk across. Or shimmy even, not wall walk.
Have I mentioned I'm acrophobic?
Don't fear heights, fear falling.
There we go. And then as soon as the camera's away from the screen, they're just going to all appear behind us. There's some extra crops here, and somehow we don't jump for these. Rare luxury. What about this? We jump for this? No, we don't. God, what's with my luck? This is the bit up here. You need to warp point to that there, that ledge in front of us that's glowing. That warp point. And now you need to stay up here when the encounter's finished. You don't need necessarily to stay down here during the encounter. Just when the encounter's all over and done with, you need to be up there. And you're going to see me try a fair amount here to try and do it with my power. The first thing though that makes it a big struggle is that the Iron Giant, or the Red Giant I think it is, will try and pull you in every time. And I get turned to stone on the way of the fall, by the way, which is kind of interesting. I think someone else dies in this. So I don't think we've had an encounter where someone's lived yet. What you need to do is find a way to stay up here. What I do is try and hug the wall, and at first I try and see if I can attack the ladder to try and get it to drop, because if I get it to drop by attacking it, then there's no worries. But it just adds to my theory that this area is just either very dickishly programmed or not programmed well at all, because you can't knock it down by sword swinging at it. You have to just make sure the encounter's finished, because you unfortunately can't you can't warp point when you're not in an encounter when you're in this dungeon. And now what you're going to see me realise is, oh, can't I just stay up here and just keep on doing it? Not how it works. So hug straight against the wall. Use the ring. And then run back against it, because Noctis idiotically will take a couple steps forward after each use, which is what will knock you off. And then when you're ready, use your ether, turn around, do it again. Keep doing it until they're all dead. But you're going to see me be more and more careful each time I do it, just because I'm really cautious about it. Even try and do drain here instead. Oh no, it's like death even. Which I don't think works. I think I'll run out of MPs beforehand. Yeah. But there's not much to say in this encounter. Just keep on hugging the wall and only turn around to deal with them when you need to. This is me trying to drain again and realizing, okay, these guys are very resistant, if not immune. So another ether is used, and they get an Eterna for their troubles.
No walk in the park.
You see, I'm hugging it like a moron. But we are done in this dungeon per se. All you need to do now, you're going to see me very cautiously, is drop this. Because you can't interact with it when you're up there in combat. You have to be out of combat to interact with anything. And then proceed onwards. Proceed onwards. So I just... that end bit really winds me up. It feels like it wasn't programmed properly. Especially because the only way to really effectively deal with it up there is either wait out your teammates or hook to the wall, or use the ring, but the ring makes you take a couple of steps forward. But there's the vault anyway.
Another key.
The key question is, where do we look?
But we're done with that dungeon. Hey! Before tackling the next dungeon, I decided to rest just to tally up the experience. So I was originally planning on doing it all in one recording, but it's only afterwards. Well, I say I did that in all recording. It's just been split into 2 parts because the other dungeon ended up being a lot longer than anticipated. And look, we got a healthy amount of experience for what was supposed to be a lower level dungeon. But that place it's annoying. It's just an extra dungeon that, if you don't care about the vault dungeons, you shouldn't bother with.
Why can't I warp too? So unfair.
Some of these pictures are kind of cool.
Should be a hit. Man, this place was crawling with nasties.
Yeah, it was. It sucked. Anyway, next time on Final Fantasy 15, we'll be tackling the other optional dungeon that was present in the main game that we avoided on our initial journey. But until then, you guys take care now.
Yeah.
The work's done.